Hey, 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 hey. Monday. I know we're all happy. It's Monday. I'm a bit under the weather. Maybe you hear it in my normal nasally voice is even more nasally than usual because I'm slowly but surely coming down with something, but I'm fighting it with this. I've discovered energy drinks. I love my Coke Zero still, but I've discovered grape energy drinks. How's everybody doing? Kathy,
That could actually be dangerous in your hands for
Cheryl,
me.
Karen, Celine, Patricia, John McGinnis is here, Luann, the whole crowd's here. Tamara, how's everyone doing? Dana, I saw you there earlier. Liz, with the name so it's nice, she has to say it twice. Liz. How's everybody doing? Um,
Hey,
so
Carmen.
good to see
Kelly.
everyone here. Kelly, how are you? NyQuil. No,
Yeah, he does Dayquil.
I can't do NyQuil. I that stuff knocks me out, and then I'll be knocked out for like days. But wanted to come on tonight. Um, Yesterday, we were driving back. Nancy, how are you? Saw Nancy over the weekend as well. We were driving back yesterday, and um, we were dealing with the loss of someone very important to us and to everyone here. And you know, I know you guys were expecting, stories of the weekend and and all that. So we have that for you today. I have a few things that I didn't mention yesterday that were actually, hey, Ann, George, that were actually pretty funny over the weekend. Stuff that happened here and there. Um, we did have a lot of people at our table. We were busy the whole time. I mean, there was very little space in between when I couldn't. I literally got a hamburger both days, and both days I
Hey,
ate
Sharon.
2 bites out of the hamburger
Yeah.
because people just. And the weird thing about people, no offense if you're one of those people that came up, but like if I saw someone eating a hamburger, I don't think I'd come up and talk to them. I think I'll let you eat the hamburger
But here's
I'll
the
come
thing.
back.
They paid to come in.
Hey Sharon, how are you?
They're coming to. They have a certain time to hit all the things. It's like you know, they got a time thing. So you're
Is it
there in
sign
that time.
language? Is
That
this
you're
what
in
we're
that
doing? Is
time
this
slot.
ASL?
So if they're doing off their checklist and you're on their checklist, then if you're eating a hamburger, you're just gonna have to put it down.
Yeah. Well,
Simple as that, right?
I did, and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Okay. But
So stop you complaining.
I'll tell you the one. Well, not see now that she did that. Now I'm forced to be mean and retaliate because
Because you never do.
someone when on the way to Pennsylvania, I started drinking these. I drink like one of these a day.
I did a nice thing.
Celsius, that's how you say it.
Is
I
it?
drink one of them a day because they really do work and they don't make you like crazy, like hyper, like monster drinks. They just, it takes a little while before they kick in, but then you're just steady energy. You just feel like,
It gives you that boost.
it feels like you woke up in the morning and you just like, oh, good, I'm awake. You know what I mean? Like I slept enough, I'm awake, and then that stays with you for a while. So I drink like one a day. So on our way there, we knew we weren't going to get much sleep. We knew we were going to be kind of tired. So instead of getting just one for the ride there and then one for Sunday, we left Saturday morning. Chris brought me like five of them.
Yeah.
So I would have them. Okay, great. Nice gesture. You know? So, not feeling well. I'm feeling run down. So before we did this, I went to the fridge and I got one. And she's like, you see, aren't you glad I got you five of those so that you have? I'm
Because
saying
he's not
the
telling you the
gesture
full
wasn't
story.
nice enough that you did. You had to make sure I
John
knew
always leaves out
that
an
I got.
element.
Remember, I got
See, when
you
he
these.
tries to keep talking over
I don't
because he
do
doesn't
that.
want me to reveal.
I don't do that.
That the reason
I
why I
just do
said that
things.
to him, because when I said, don't just grab two, let me get more for you so you have them, he gave me a hard time about that. So that's why I said, so when he opened it up, I said, aren't you glad now? And he goes, nobody likes it when somebody has to be reminded that you did something nice. That had nothing to do with it. It had to do with the moment of you pushing back at me and I didn't listen to you and I got them for you anyways. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had it to have it right now.
I don't know why.
But he twisted that
I don't know why you
around.
had to bring it up again.
You know?
That's you.
And this is us, honey. We go back and forth like this. This is our love language, as they call it.
But anyway, we did meet
Thank you, Marie.
a lot of really really cool people. Some that we have known, for a while, and
time.
others who we either met for the first time or we'd seen them last year, and I enjoyed talking to there. I'm horrible. Everybody knows how horrible I am with names. I know the names I know from the years of doing this here.
Yeah.
And from the years of people showing up our events. Even those people will tell you how long it took me to learn Tamara's one of them. I'm like,
he goes, is her name Tamara or Tamara?
Even before I got to that point, I didn't even know her name. Even Patricia the same way.
Yeah.
But it takes me a while with names.
Hey, Nikki.
And so but there are people we met the year before, and there's this paranormal group. I wish they didn't have like a regular name, like they weren't like Baby Blue Paranormal. They were like EOFYU something, like it was on their shirts. And when they came over,
huge.
I immediately recognized the faces. It's a father, a son, and the son's friend. And the son's like 23, 24.
And they talked to us last year.
Yeah, and they're good guys. It's cool that the father does this with the son, and the son is the young guy, so he knows all the ins and outs for TikTok and editing and all that other stuff. And the dad just goes and investigates. But I literally talked to them for half hour, 40 minutes.
It was more than that. Yeah, it was a substantial amount of time.
And I like those dudes. So if you guys are watching, I had a good time talking to you guys again. But there were others as well. I mean, people were coming up and Chris was wandering and and I'm at the table by myself trying to handle people that are there, and I felt bad because there'd be two people talking to me, and then like I could see someone coming up behind and they're waving or they're waiting, and I was there, and Chris was just social butterfly out doing whatever. So I apologize if you were one of the people that came up and I didn't get a chance to talk to. I assumed there was going to be two people at the table at all times, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
I'm too
I'm only.
tired still to even. Isn't yeah? What?
It's like
See,
you know that movie
uh,
Multiplicity. That's what I need. I need to clone me 2 or 3 times
you know what Mama
because.
said.
But anyway, one of the funny stories that I have involves
Mm.
me completely shattering a young 8-year-old's. Now, let me preface this. Travis was
Hi,
there. Good
Travis.
seeing Travis as always, and Tina. Um, Let me preface this by saying this was a teaching moment. Okay, nothing more to it than that. Just a teaching moment. Um, this 8-year-old boy comes with his mother into our tent, and he had come by before with his mom, and we talked for a little while. The mom, because we had met the mom before,
Hey,
and
Nicole.
here he
Heather.
comes. Everybody's allowed in the room but Sally Busher, by the way. If anybody sees Sally Busher in this room, and I'm going to tell that story too. Anybody see Sally Busher, you tell me.
Sally, he's
You
gonna
tell
throw
me.
you under the
Because
bus.
I'm sigging every one of these people on Sally Busher if she dares shows her face in this room. Nicole, you tell her. But I'm going to tell that story too. So,
You're
Susan,
welcome,
saw Susan
Susan.
as well.
You're welcome.
Heather, how are
Hey,
you?
Donna.
Donna, how are you? So again, great to have the whole family, the whole paranormal family's here. I see all the names, and again, it's great that we're all together. And again, um, Maria, I saw was on for a
She's on
bit.
here.
I think did I see her on? I think I'm not sure if I did or not. But again, offer your condolences to her and Peter
And then, real
and the
quick, because I
family.
know some of you may not know, John said we lost a good friend. We lost Peter. And anyone that does the stuff what knows that Peter and Maria Parker have been with us for many years doing this. This is the family. This is the paranormal family here, and
Yeah, they're all here too, as well.
I mean, Tamara and Patricia, and I mean, and all of you. No, she's not on.
Well,
You
she isn't
guys
on. I
were,
thought I saw her on.
you guys are there supporting. We're all supporting her, and I want that to continue. And um,
Oh, okay. That's another story, Susan.
but if you guys can just pass on support. She's dealing with this, the reality of it, and this was such a unexpected thing that happened, and we're all trying to process it. But I have to tell you, all of you guys are real quick. I know you want to go into this, and we'll get off of this, but all of you have been so amazing to her, reaching out to her and keeping her, and that's what we are supposed to do for each other. She's going to need us, and we all need to be there for her. So thank you all for doing that, and keep doing it.
So that's part of again why we wanted to come on tonight because yesterday we
Yeah.
remembered Peter and again everyone was expecting I don't know if anyone was expecting anything but I know that we were coming back from a trip and people were like what are you doing where are you going so we just we were remembering Peter with all of you and letting you all know that we lost a member of our paranormal families a great guy and we will I'm gonna miss him at every event for sure. I miss him already, and I think about the next event, and I'm not gonna see him. So, but Susan was another funny story.
You didn't finish your little boy story yet.
Well, I'm gonna go back to that one, but
Okay.
Susan just jumped on, so she reminded me of another one. So Susan, a lot of people there. They were having long lines for a lot of
There's a
different
lot of
things,
people.
including food. Yeah, that happens when you get a lot of people, food and water. So Susan was just like, God, I was going to wait online for water, but that line was so long. And I'm like, well, I have. And Chris goes, well, we have water. Do you want one? And she's like, well, do you have one? And
Her face was really
well,
flushed. She
but
looked.
again, an opportunity. I said, yeah, we have water. And she's like, oh, thank you. I said, well, if the line is that long, $10, you get one right now. I mean, supply and demand, Susan. This is a capital system that we have here in this country, you know. But no, we gave her water, and but that was one of the kind of the funny stories. So I'll go back to the 8-year-old. I'm trying to read the YouTube comment. Oh my God, the food was so long. Yeah, well,
Hour and a
again, I'm
half.
not going into any
Yeah.
of that stuff. Not our convention. There were tons of
A
people
lot of
there.
people.
They obviously knocked that out of the park. They had a lot of people there, and a lot of people are happy. So that's their convention. We're there to support our friends, Bob and Gina, and we were there. We had a good time. Um, so this 8-year-old boy comes in with a K2 meter. And those of you who don't know what a K2 meter is, it's like the oldest thing that ghost hunters were using way back in the day when they were on that little tiny gray or black box that has the different color rainbow lights on the top of them, different colors from like yellow all the way to red, and it kind of arcs and it measures electromagnetic field milligauss, and it changes colors based on the amount of energy. It'll go from one green dot all the way up to red if it's a lot of energy. So hey Ann, um so he comes into our tent, our space. So he opened, he subjected himself to whatever was going to happen in that space, and he says he's going around with his meter, and he goes, "You have ghosts in your tent." And I said, "Yeah," and he goes, "Yeah," and I said, "Well, why do you say that?" And he said, "Look." And he shows me his K2 meter, and there's 3 lights on. It's going to orange, and I said, "Do you know what that is and how it works?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's a ghost detector." And I said, "No, it's not a ghost detector." And I looked at his mom, and his mom was looking at me like, "What are you, what are you gonna, what are you gonna say?" Because obviously they had gotten this thing from someone who didn't fully explain it. They just said, "Hey, use this thing and go find ghosts." So I said, "This is a There are no ghost detectors." I told them the same spiel I give at our lectures. I said, "This was developed to measure electromagnetic field energy in milligauss." And I said, there is man-made energy, and it's all around us. In fact, the people in the tent right next to us had artwork. There were drums that were made into lamps, and she had them plugged in. And literally, there was just a piece of, what is that, vinyl between us, and that's where he was.
Susan.
He was over there with his thing, and I said to him, "Look, this measures energy. There's energy, all there's man-made energy, TVs, everything. Your phone." I said, so I said, "Put it back over there by the drum lamp." And I said, "See how it goes up again? It's measuring energy. People believe spirits are energy." And he looked so confused. And his mom's looking at me, and he's looking at me, and I felt like saying to him, "And there's no such thing as Santa either." But I stopped because.
But the little boy did come in because he when he walked in, he hit that energy field that was coming off their electric box.
Yeah, well,
and he goes and John and he goes, "There's ghost in here." And John goes,
I just said that. You're just
"I didn't think
retelling
you
my
said
story.
that he said there was a ghost
Well,
in here."
maybe if you listen to,
I was listening
instead of just.
I listened to you rip the heart out of that little
Anyway,
boy.
so let me pick up again from where I am in the story. You can go back and re-listen to it in a minute. But the echo is going to play it back, the replay. But I joked with everyone and said I should have said Santa isn't real either. But he kind of just looked at me and didn't know what to do. And then him and his mom just kind of, "All right, well, we'll see you later."
Yeah,
and they left the tent. And I was just like, now, right across from me is one of the biggest skeptic, if not the biggest skeptic, debunkers in the paranormal field, who doesn't really get along with the paranormal people because he debunks everything and he doesn't think what we do is legit and whatever. So we know him. He's a friend of ours, Kenny Biddle, if you've ever heard that name. And I said, "Kenny, you'd have been proud of me."
Hey, David.
And he goes, "Why?" And I told him what happened. And he's just like, I said, "Now, was I wrong? That's a teachable moment, correct?" And he goes, "No, you were right. You did the right thing." And I said, "See, I don't think I should have let him believe that he was going around."
No, all joking aside,
seeing ghosts everywhere.
He seriously wanted to do that. And
Yeah.
and if someone is like, if you do want the basis of truth, he's 8 years old. If he's doing this and he's coming around, then this is his interest. Why would you misguide him? Why would you let him believe something that's not true? Why wouldn't you educate
Susan
him?
said you missed the opportunity to say, wait, you could see me like I was the ghost that he was measuring. That would have been
Kathy
even
said he
better.
probably went to the next tent and told him there was a ghost in their tent.
But that was that was pretty funny.
But he did come back later, and he had somebody had given him something that he thought was special. And I was like, "Don't tell John. Don't let him say nothing."
Yeah, he didn't tell me about it. But
We were
no, I
joking.
thought that was the right thing to do. He's
It
walking
was.
around saying ghosts, and obviously whoever gave him that piece of equipment or sold it to whatever didn't explain it, and I don't think that's right. I really don't. I don't think you hand somebody something and go, this is a ghost detector. Now go out there and look for ghosts with it.
Yeah, because if he's really interested in that, it take again. You don't. That's humoring somebody's interest. That's not really being real about their interest.
But it still could be. He could still use it.
But
Just
yeah, know what
you're-
it's for
yeah,
and
know
what it
you're
does.
using it
I mean,
for.
not for nothing. Why would you want him going around thinking it is and going around and saying that, and then and he thinks it's real, and then later on he learns it wasn't.
And
Isn't that a
obviously his
deflatable moment for
mom
him?
didn't
Well, maybe
know
she felt
or correct him either, which I would call dykus
maybe
myself. But
maybe she
that's
figures if
me.
he thinks everything's a ghost, he's having a good time.
Well, I'm sure that's was the most important thing to her was that he
He
was
was
having
having
a
a good
good time
time.
until he met me, and then good
And
times.
she brings him
Good
back,
time.
and they come back over. That's the part that
Yeah,
gets me.
never mislead a youngster. It's a
You
teachable
shouldn't.
moment, and that's all I
Yeah,
did
and
was
you hit it on the head.
I taught that young fella, and
Like for years,
he's
and
gonna
I'm
go
not
tell
kidding.
the other kids.
My mom was told that you don't eat popcorn and drink water because you'll swell up. And my mom had a fear of popcorn. And how she learned that that wasn't true was that she dropped popcorn in water to see what would happen because they just didn't want her eating so much popcorn. So they told her a misleading thing so that she would be afraid to eat the popcorn.
Now I talk about science and a
I'm just
teachable moment,
saying.
and you try to give a hillbilly relatable story to my
Where's
teachable
where's
moment.
that a hillbilly story?
Popcorn and water, and if you eat it, you what? You blow up? Is that what you
You
said?
swell up. It swells, and your tummy will swell up. She was a kid. I guess she ate so much popcorn and loved popcorn that that's what they felt would slow that down. Because it wasn't like today where you can go and just put it in the microwave. You had to stand over a stove and put it in a pot and pop it. And you guys get me, don't you? Right.
Wow.
I've told every
Wow.
single one of my kids that they didn't belong to me. Oh my God. Did you tell them about apparatuses?
No, those are a completely different
Oh,
thing.
poor Tracy is never gonna live
Completely
that one
different
down.
thing. But that was I did I part of me felt bad, but another part of me was just like, you know, I don't know. Like if it was my son and he was walking around
Thank
with
you,
one of
Danielle.
those, and you know, I question the person who gave it to him more than I question anybody else, because the person who gave it to him should have just explained to him that, hey, yeah, this is what it does. You may be able to use it for quote unquote ghost hunting, but know that there's this other side of that too, to where every time your lights start blinking in the car and in the whatever, when you're, in the using the restroom, doesn't mean that a ghost is near you every time. It's like try to give them a little bit of something. You know what I mean? That's what the savior's for. That's why I got the shirt. That's why I got the hat and the action figures and the bobbleheads, because you know I'm that's why I was here for. And that poor little kid, he probably called his mom a liar and threw the thing on the ground and stomped on it, and lost all trust for his
No.
mother,
Do you
and is
know
going to
what's
be
the
in
funny
therapy
thing?
for the rest of his life.
No, because when John did that, I watched to see his response because you know that there are some that you cannot do that to. You can't break that illusion, and there's a reason for it. Maybe they're not ready. But the truth is that when John was speaking to him, he was literally in the tent, walked right up, and was standing right next to John, looking down at it and looking at John, and he was listening to him. He was engaged with you. He was absorbing what you were telling him.
Well, this is what I do. I literally do this when people come up to me, especially at like street fairs or conventions or whatever like that, and they ask me a question, and I I say to them, "Do you want me to really tell you what I would think?
You
Because
do.
you might not like what I'm going to say to you. It might not be what you think. So if you just want to share your story and tell me, that's fine. But if you really want to know my opinion, then get ready for it."
No,
but
serious. Get ready.
but yeah, that kid is probably, if he grows up to be serial killer or
I
something,
can't
they're going to
be.
blame me for it because I shattered his poor little dreams. And
No, but
on
he
a on
came
a
back.
on a warm afternoon
He
on a
was not
Saturday
traumatized.
in
He
May.
came back and he listened very intently because John said, if you hold that back up over there, you'll see it all light up. And he did it. So, again,
Yes.
yeah.
So if you have kids, just bring them by. If you want to we to have
John
the
will pull the band
if
aid
you
off
want me
for
to
you.
have the talk with them about Santa and everything else, just send them my way. I'll do it for
The
you.
bunny,
You don't have
he'll
to
do
be
it
the
all
bad
for you.
guy. You don't
The
have to be the
tooth
bad guy.
fairy,
I'll do it. I have no
he'll
problem
knock
doing it.
out all of those fables for you.
No, I did feel. I felt a little bad, but I was like, that needed to happen.
Well, you
You
felt
know,
bad that you told that he had that impression and he had what?
Jim Carrey, liar, liar.
Well,
But no, it was like I said, that was one of the things that I remembered about the weekend. But what we did, there was other moments that were good, and the people that we were around, John and Nancy,
that's true, and he
uh,
did.
what
That you were being truthful.
John the Bubble Buster. Ooh, there's a T-shirt, John McGinnis.
But Ann
John
said
the Bubble.
always be truthful and kind, and he did. He was kind about it. I mean, he's joking, but he didn't say it harshly. He goes, "Well, you want me to tell you what that really is? Let me tell you about what it really does. It's not a ghost detector." And he did it, and he treated him. You know, like people talk down to kids usually when they're talking or they do the baby voice or whatever. John spoke to him like he was a young individual that was like, now let me tell you
You're
what it
wrong
really
about
is.
that, Laura.
Oh, that's what you think that? Oh, and Trent tries it. No, we're talking about breaking up those fables,
No,
those fairy
what
tales.
Laura said.
Yeah,
Prince
you're
Charming
going to
doesn't
get rid
exist
of.
either.
No, she's saying you're going to get rid of the tooth fairy, the Easter bunny, Santa Claus, leprechaun, Lucky Charms, and there's no Prince Charming.
I have to explain the joke sometimes.
That's not a
It's
joke.
not.
I'm saying we're going to get rid of all this.
Do you really mean I didn't marry a French? Actually, Celine, in your case, yes, you did. Actually, I know Dan, and Dan is quite the striking fellow. I was waiting for you to chime in. I'm not. Sometimes, Laura, I do know when to be quiet. Believe me.
Kathy says I want to keep my grandkids
I
away from you.
I pick my moments. Believe me when it comes to this stuff. But like I said, we it was great to see um, Steve and Dave. Steve and Dave from Ghost Hunters are probably like the two nicest guys that are TV people in the field.
Even outside I mean, if they weren't even in the field,
Yeah,
they're just those caliber of individuals.
Steve always gives us a big hug and holds on a little too long, but he gives you a big hug. And Dave, same thing. I had a nice long conversation with Dakota, and Dakota's very honest. I, I'm older, so he's a young guy, but Dakota's a very honest young guy too. They'll tell you the kind of ins and outs of TV and all that stuff. And it was cool just again being able to hang out with them. I actually got to talk to Jason Hawes today on the phone about stuff about the weekend, and it was just like I said, it was we were having a good time, and what happened, you know happened, and it just one of those like we were shocked because we were in the middle of people saying, "Oh my God, the wedding's coming up. Aren't you excited?" And we were in the middle of like, "Yeah, this is what we did. We were at the place and we were doing this." And she got the call, and it was like we had to really take some time to just because everybody around us was in such a good mood and doing everything, and we had to just deal with what we had just heard and then come back because there were people waiting there and they wanted to talk and they wanted to. I mean, it was a good distraction
Yeah.
in light of,
Yeah.
because if we were just home and we had gotten the news, but at least we were around people that were just talking to us and distracting us. And again, then that poor little kid walked into my crosshairs, and I like actually being around kids when it comes to the paranormal.
You do.
When we've gone into high schools and we've done lectures, Girl Scouts, we've done that 4, 5, 6 times. Um, and when we did do the mine tours, which I'm going to bring up in a minute, um, kids showed up to that too, and I actually enjoy.
Yes.
I love the interest. I love kids being interested in the paranormal and just being able to just give them some little seeds that they're going to go and follow whichever way they want to.
And you answer their questions honestly and seriously when they ask it. You don't talk down to them. You don't try to minimize it. You tell like you told it to this young boy.
I tend to. I don't want to say be insulting. I want to say, what's the better word than insulting? Somebody give me a better word than insulting. I don't. When younger people, I mean, as far as 20s ish, come up, and again, we're talking about the paranormal, and I say this, I say to them, all the time, um, younger people are more content creators.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing at all
They
wrong
grew up
with
with that.
with yeah, they watch the paranormal shows on TV, and now they're doing it themselves on YouTube, TikTok, whatever. But I wish they would be as much into the research and stuff as they are in going into a building and seeing what happens too, as far as paranormal theories and the reasons, different, because I love that stuff. And we had a couple of condescending, I don't know if that's the word either, but when they come up and they talk to me, I always say, I say, your generation is different. You know, you're looking to create content. When this isn't content. This is this is two people.
Oh, Heather.
This is two people sitting on a couch talking to an iPhone with. We're fortunate enough to have people watching, and we're just talking about stuff that, or paranormal stuff, or things that happen. I don't call this content at all. This is like Seinfeld.
No.
This is a show about nothing. I mean, this is this is whatever it is. And even when we do like creeper gallery and stuff like that, I never look at that as like, oh, this is content. This is content. And when you talk to the younger guys and even like Dakota and stuff, they're all like, um, you got to edit this, you got to do that, you got to do that, and I'm just like, and I'm just like, hey, we just do whatever.
Yeah.
We've always been that way, and we always will be that way. It's just like never in my mind is, oh my God, I need like 10,000, 20,000 people to watch this video. I want to grow the channel by, I mean, of course I would like to grow the YouTube audience.
So what was the word? You mean when you're talking to them?
No,
or they're
I don't,
talking
I'm
to
not,
you?
I'm not, it's just, we're on a different, we're on a different, we're from different generations.
Yeah.
They're the social media generation. So for them, it's they're trying to get their YouTube thing going because again, that's what everybody's doing. Jason Hawes is doing it. He's our age. They're thinking about content, making videos. And some of them do it extremely well, the way they edit and put the history together and do all of that. But that's I'm just saying we're different places as far
Right.
as the field.
Different method,
If you
different
want
ways.
no,
and
not
different...
even that. It's different mindsets.
Yeah.
Our my mindset has never been content. I'm older. I don't think that way. I don't need to do. I do this once a week or twice a week because I like doing it. You know that. I turn on the thing. I talk. We talk to them, and that's it.
That's a good thing. It's different. You're curious.
I never think in terms of I need to release a video every week. I need to
Oh
content.
no, because then you lose in my, and again, older generation. I know the younger generation. That's the way life is. Whatever they're doing, that's the way. It's kind of like when we were younger, and yeah, he's probably gonna say,
Oh, we're gonna
fake,
hear another popcorn
but
story. Tighten your seatbelts.
sock hops.
Oh.
Going to the roller skating rink. When,
Sock hops was not our generation. There is no, I am literally.
I can swear to God, they had
you
sock
did
hops
not
when
have
I
a
was
sock hop when you were a kid. They did not exist.
11 years old. And you want me to say, you know why I remember it?
No,
because
how?
we ended
You were
up
watching.
going.
You're
Stop.
like you're
Stop.
like Scrooge
You
when he
can't
was
tell me what
watching
I
Little
live.
House in the Prairie, and he would tell the stories
No,
about
you gonna
the
listen?
TV shows.
You gonna listen, or you gonna project? 11 years old. My sister and I were going to be able to go to, and my father was very strict. We were going to be able to go do a sock hop at the school. At the school, had it all planned, and I can tell you exactly where we lived, and I don't want to because you'll say something to that too.
And how old were you?
And 11. I said
so
this
11,
3
that
times.
was 19, almost what, 80? Something like that?
No.
You
I
were born in
graduated at
67. You were born in 67. That means, yeah, it was almost 1980. In 1978, they were having sock hops.
Whether they were doing retro, I don't know. We were having a sock hop, and my sister and I were going to go.
Exactly,
we were excited. We were happy. We were going to get
Brian
to go.
Raleigh, thank you.
And my grandfather passed away, so we couldn't go. This is why it sticks out. Trauma makes things stick out clearer. It was a sock hop. Maybe the adults or whatever watched it on Happy Day.
They're all taking
Do
my
not
side.
encourage this man.
They all know. They all know.
It was a sock hop.
There
for
was a
whatever
time
reason.
too where she jumped the sharks with her motorcycle. That one I know is real because she told me, and no way did you ever go to a sock hop.
I'll swear on my grandson's life.
Well, now that Sally Busher
see, he jumped. No, he jumped right over there.
Unless Chris is 85 years old.
See,
Thank
he won't
you,
let me
Brian
speak.
Raleigh. No, go ahead. Address them.
Flat out, it was a sock hop, and I don't even know if it was the teachers, the school, or whatever. But I was 11 years old, and we were all going to go. It was the first time my father was going to let us do something like that, and it was chaperoned. And we were excited. We were little kids. But you know what? Because my grandfather passed, and we ended up not going. And we were both devastated because it was going to be our first taste of freedom.
There's not one person there who's ever been to a sock hop.
And I bet you guys didn't have for your prom, which you didn't go to, We Are the World as the theme song either. Which
that was
is ridiculous.
Around in our generation, though. That's at least relatable.
John, I don't know why they did it. They had a sock hop. So, thank you, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. After you got out of the DeLorean with Doc Brown and went to the sock hop, did you generate the 1.21 gigawatts?
I wish my mom was alive to school you on this right now.
Oh my goodness. Anyway.
It might have been a thing where they were doing a back in time thing for a thing at school. I don't know. I don't remember all the details. It was a themed thing. And yes, Kathy, 100%. Haven't you ever had where they had like the 50s dance? I
will, Patricia. I'll leave it alone. It's if we're gonna go to Fantasyland, I'll just let her. Go ahead.
All right.
So you were hopping in your socks, and then what'd you do?
No, we didn't get to. I told you.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
That was the one and only time ever sock hop.
I'm sorry. Sorry you missed it.
Well, I was too. I was heartbroken. Heartbroken, man.
Yeah.
And it was good because my father was so strict that my mom argued with this man for hours to let us go to this thing. So, I love you guys too. This is our thing.
Anyway, Sally Busher.
Sally, run and hide. So it's your turn.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you, New Jersey faithful, New Jersey Paranormal faithful,
Sally.
About Sally Busher and how she broke my heart. Remember The Godfather when he found out that Fredo had betrayed him, and he said, "I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart." Well, Sally Busher literally did that to me this weekend. She couldn't just not do something and tell me. She had to tell me what she did. So, yes, we're having a sock hop at our wedding.
No, Laura.
So Sally Busher comes up to me at this convention and says, "I was going to wear my New Jersey Paranormal shirt, but I was afraid to because I didn't know what people would say. And I said, what does that mean?
You know what that means.
You think you're going to get beat up because you're wearing a New Jersey Paranormal shirt? She said, oh, well, but it was dirty in the wash anyway. And I said, oh, my. So there were several other people,
Hey, Kevin,
with their New Jersey Paranormal shirts on, who I thank very much for representing New Jersey Paranormal. Sally Busher, who has now been wiped from my mind.
How's he spending a good 5 minutes on you, Sally?
I will never forget. I will never forget, Sally. Amber,
Hey.
Steve, you're welcome to attend any event, anytime with New Jersey Paranormal. But what's her name? I don't know. Maybe if you sneak her in, maybe. I don't know. But
so you guys want me to clue you in
very,
on John?
very hard for me to hear
John,
that. I wore my NJP
until it got
hoodie
too hot.
until it got too hot. Thank you.
If John,
Brian Raleigh, wear your NJP proud. I would wear mine, says Celine.
Hello, it was dirty.
I'm sorry, I don't see that comment from the last person, but Patricia says LOL. So again,
but
Amber, Steve.
Hold on a second. Just to make this clear to everybody, if this man is picking on you, he has affection for you. 100%.
I literally turned around and I said, what? I thought a bee stung me in my back, but the knife was still fresh with blood deep when I pulled it out. I was had never.
Thank you did, Patricia and Tracy, and Ireland. It was unbelievable.
Ireland wore her New Jersey Paranormal shirt. I actually did wear the black and white Oxford shoes.
There you go.
But no, thank you.
You're right, Sally. I will.
To everyone who did proudly represent New Jersey Paranormal, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. For those of you who did not because of fear of I don't know what, then I hope you go to a sock hop and slip on the floor and have an accident. Anyway.
Oh, Lord have mercy. That's all I got to say. Amber and Steve are cracking up.
Thank you. Sally, again, watch The Godfather. You're not Italian, Sally. You watch The God. You broke my heart. You broke my heart, Sally. I never thought it.
Oh,
never thought.
This guy goes and buys himself a cool T-shirt, comes back and shows me. Didn't get one.
Could have got one. They were right down. There were like four things. I wear my NJP shirt with pajamas, pants to sleep. It's a glow in the dark one.
That's
Susan,
right.
Thank you, Susan, as well. Susan, not a traitor. I'll have you know.
Wear that dirty shirt.
Damn right, Heather. Damn, Heather.
Heather, are you coming to the wedding? You said you're moving away in July. Because we were not going to be able to see. She's not going to be able to do events with us anymore. She's moving away. She's moving to where the state my daughter lives in. I'm just catching that. Just like things taking it in. What can I say?
Are you finished with your?
I
wasn't finished with my rant about Sally Busher. Sally Busher needs to
post his pics with you
for what she did.
Doesn't that mean anything?
Oh no. You don't chop the head off and then inject the Novocaine. You don't do that. No. Anyway, horse head. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin gets it. He was there, but that's okay. Sometimes the truth is obscured from us because of our feelings for people and our,
Are you saying love is blind?
But eventually,
is that what you're saying?
Eventually, the sheep clothing comes off and the wolf is revealed. This is what happened this weekend. May, I believe it was the 18th or 19th. I have it marked on my calendar. The day Sally Busher betrayed New Jersey Paranormal will be marked every year. So,
and he said the person who would not be named. You're taking a lot of rent in his head, Sally. A lot.
Let it be known, Sally Busher.
So let's talk about the great news.
The sock hop?
We're past the sock
Yeah,
hop.
JP sock hop
We're past
that
that.
we're gonna have.
Yeah, Sally. Sally, you are. No, come on
Sally,
now.
you could watch from the fence line. You're welcome. We're on a hill, so you'll be able to see from up there. But anyway, yes, the other big news is that we did announce for the 11th, believe it or not, annual New Jersey Para Unity Expo, which takes place November 8th, 6 days before my birthday, by the way. So bringing gifts would not be inappropriate. Um, we did announce Jay Wasley from Ghost Adventures.
That's your birthday gift.
Now, it is actually. You're not kidding. Everyone knows.
Yes, Susan, wear the shirt to the wedding.
Everybody knows that I have watched Ghost Adventures forever, and I know everybody has their opinion on Zach and whatever's going on with him now, and whatever he did on the show, and that's fine. And whatever, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I like that show. Zach entertains the hell out of me. Aaron entertains the hell out of me, and I watch that show. So getting Jay is a big deal for me. And I saw a lot of people comment, and a lot of people were excited about it. They don't do conventions. They haven't done them in a long, long time. So Jay is coming, and we're working on one more person who will be another hopefully big announcement. Hopefully sometime soon. I can't promise anything, but there may be one more rabbit in the hat and before we're all done. But yeah, I was really happy about Jay. Yeah. Very good to us. Jay is actually from Jersey. I didn't know that until I started talking to him, and he's thrilled about coming home uh, and doing a convention that benefits, the charity, the Woodbridge Charity Fund. So I was as shocked as anyone when him and I were going back and forth, yeah, and how great he was about the whole thing. And no Nick Ruff. No, that ain't gonna happen.
Not this time.
Yeah. And even, what's funny is in the paranormal world, there's so much drama um, everywhere with everyone. That's why Sally Busher was afraid to wear our shirt. And but it even exists on the TV level as well. Yeah. And I'm not gonna go into who and what and whatever, but because Jay was announced and Project Fear isn't there this year, people automatically made the assumption that, oh my God, Project Fear and Ghost Adventures, one had nothing to do with the other. Again, Dakota and I had the greatest conversation because Dakota's a really, really nice guy. So is Tanner. They're all nice people. But at the end of the last expo, and this is behind the scenes stuff, they knew that Chelsea was pregnant. And we were told that they weren't going to be able to attend this year because of scheduling issues, and that's how they kind of left it. And I thought that was weird because it was just kind of vague, and I was like, wow, they worked it out this last year. Why couldn't they work it out this year? So um, when I saw Dakota this weekend, Dakota literally, we sat for almost an hour and a half, 2 hours talking, and he explained everything, how Chelsea's going to have the baby, she's going to take some time off, and then they have nothing filmed, so they need to go out for months.
It's critical.
Film, edit, and then have all that stuff because again, they live off their YouTube now. And he was really, really cool about it. So it had nothing to do with anything other than Chelsea was having a baby and they needed to rearrange it. They would have been back. We would have loved to have had them back. They're great people.
They said they're coming back next year.
But right away, people kind of like they play detective and they this because of that. It's just
they project what they think or feel. It's an opinion.
Yeah, it's just not true. I mean, they're good guys. We'd love to have them back. We invited them back. They just couldn't do it.
Heather, his mother actually is vending at the
expo. She'll be there. Believe it or not, the mother of the child whose dreams I shattered. Hey, look, I was this close to telling him about Santa. I felt like he was 8. I thought that was a good age to find out as well, but I gave him that. I left him with that. I could have. I had the right. I jammed him with the left. I had the right, but then I let him out of the ring.
The other thing that's really cool is that Jay will be at both VIP parties.
Yeah. Now, people are like, was it Zach? Is it Zach? And I told anyone, I said, if I got Zach to come to the expo, and I don't know anything. I hear rumors of what's going on. I have no idea if any of that's true. I don't spread stuff unless it's factual and I see that there's really reports of things.
Yeah.
So I don't spread stuff.
Rumors get started real easy and people
But
pick
who
up.
knows?
And
It could be true. I
it
don't know
could
if they
be,
are,
but we don't
or
know,
if they
and
aren't.
it's not our business.
But I told people, I'm like, if I signed Zach, you, the public, would have access to him for about an hour. The whole rest of the time would just be me hanging out with Zach. I would literally pay just to hang out with him, and then I'd let
But
everybody
you've
have
never met
a
him.
minute with him.
Do you think that what if you know how like you have an idea or assumption of what you think someone would be like, or is it just you wouldn't matter about that side of it? You just would want to pick his brain and talk to him
Well, I
about
mean,
stuff, or
no, I again, I'm saying because I wanted to meet the guy. I mean,
yeah.
Bill Murray, I think, is another guy I'd like to
Oh, I
hang out
would
and spend time with.
love to meet Bill
Could he
Murray.
be a real jerk in real life? Yeah, you
Maybe.
know, but
Yeah, but
you're
I would like
saying
to meet
like,
and just say I would.
but
like
if
to
he
meet Bill
like
Murray.
Grant Wilson and I talked for 2 hours
Yeah.
first time I met him,
Yep.
and he was like talking to John Zappis. It was like, wow.
Yeah,
you
he was
know?
willing to share a wealth of information.
So anyway, what do we learn? Don't bring your kids around me and have them ask me questions about the paranormal if you don't want them to know. What else?
Sally Busher is
Sally
no
Busher
longer.
is the enemy. That's the other one. Sally Busher is the enemy. Avoid her at all costs because she will turn on you eventually. It took years, but it happened. At two, Busher.
Now
At two.
you said that we were going to go down on Sunday and hang out with Donna at the Creeper Gallery. That was a plan that you were thinking of doing.
I'll see Zach where JS. I've had opinion before people got to talking. Let's see Zach where he is. JS. I don't know what that means. But
Just saying.
But I had something else in mind before you mentioned the Creeper Gallery thing that I wanted to. A few things before we talk about the Creeper Gallery thing. We are again still selling tickets for Dalen on the 21st at the mine. Again, we should have kind of pushed those more this weekend, but we really didn't do that. We were talking about everything else. But there are still tickets available for June 21st. Sterling Hill Mine with Dalen Spratt from Ghost Brothers, who those guys are entertaining, man, and people like those guys and they like hanging out with them. And Dalen, he's doing a lot of investigating, so I'm curious to see what it's going to be like being with him and investigating with him. So email New Jersey Paranormal at yahoo.com. You have to spell out New Jersey Paranormal at yahoo.com if you're interested. As far as the ghost walks, due to a scheduling conflict, there are no ghost walks on the 24th this week. Next week, whatever, the 31st, I believe, that's when the ghost walks are going to be. So there are still spots available for that. If you're interested, same thing, send me an email. It's only $20. It's an hour and a half, 6 to 7:30, and I think 8 to 9:30 we're doing it, and it's just fun. And if you've never been to the mine before, or if you want to just see what it's like, or even if you want to bring your kids, as long as you're with them and they're mature enough to handle it, you could bring the kids. I mean, I'll probably, burst their bubbles too, like John McGinnis said. But it's a good time. It's a good time. So only on May 31st, $20 a person, are we doing the ghost walks, and they're fun. Anybody who's done one before, they're a lot of fun, and you can bring kids. Just make sure they're mature enough and that you're going to be with them and that they can handle it. The lights are going to go out because the lights are going out, and the other thing I wanted to mention, God, there was something else I can't remember what it was though. I'm gonna remember later, but the Creeper Gallery, yeah, we don't have anything this weekend, so we were thinking we haven't seen Donna in a while, probably since we filmed with her in December, no, late November. We got together for Christmas. Oh, we did the Christmas thing.
Yep.
December.
That was the last thing.
It's been a while since. So we're going to be at the Creeper Gallery on Sunday. So if you guys don't have anything to do and you've never been to New Hope or to the Creeper Gallery, or you've been there before and you just want to come hang out, we'll probably get there around like I don't know, 1:30 ish, and we'll hang out. We usually hang out with Donna until she closes or before she closes. So we'll be there in New Hope, hanging out at the Creeper Gallery on Main Street, 129 South Main Street with Donna. So you can meet Donna, you can hang out with us, you can see all the stuff in the red room. Maybe we'll go back there with that doll and take out some of the real bad. No, we're not doing that. But if you're not doing anything Sunday, come by the Creeper Gallery, check it out. Come say hi. Everyone but Sally Busher is welcome if they want to come. Mind walk, a bad time to use the glow in the dark teeth whitener. Susan, leave the jokes to me, okay? Don't leave on a high note, Susan. You had a few good ones.
Oh,
you ever watch Seinfeld? When you have one or two good jokes,
you
kind of leave there. You don't say that one joke and ruin the rest of the jokes. Cody, my friend, literally just talked to Cody today on the phone as they were driving home from Ohio, and we had a good conversation with Cody. Good to see you, Cody. I hope you guys made it home okay. Can't wait to see them again. The wedding, maybe that's what I wanted to bring up. The wedding is June 14th, and we're we're getting towards being ready and prepared for that. There's still a lot we have to do, but yeah, the wedding is on the 14th. Um, Praying for good weather. My sister's coming up from South Carolina. My other family members will be there. Chris's family's going to be there. A lot of
they're coming from Georgia, North Carolina, and Texas.
Some of you guys are going to be there as well, except for Sally Busher. And
Sally's going to be there.
And it's going to be a great time. I hear that there is a chance that a sock hop may break out.
Don't hit your head.
Could you please tell me what a sock hop even is?
It's where you take off your shoes and you dance in the gym.
In your socks.
In your socks.
Just so you don't ruin the floor.
No, that's what they call a sock hop. It was a thing. And yes, it generated out of the 50s, but for whatever reason, that was the theme for that night.
So Cody, you're a little behind because you just jumped on. By the way, Chris here says she's almost went to a sock hop, and we were saying that that's virtually impossible for our generation because sock hops were only in the 50s, and Chris wasn't born until the late 60s, like myself. But Chris seems to have some memory issues from now and then. She's getting a little older.
I love it how this man who doesn't live my life tells me what my childhood was. Isn't that amazing when somebody puts on goggles and they say, this was your life, even though they didn't live it? Don't you love those kind of people?
My mother used to go to sock hops. Cheryl, it'd be great if you guys were there. I guess you guys are busy, but let me tell you something else Chris did that was really funny. Chris will do things like it's kind of normal for her not to know where her phone is. That happens a lot. Her purse she left outside with money in it and stuff already.
Yeah.
But she buys a package full of new toothbrushes. And
no.
We're leaving, we're gonna go away. So she's looking for it. She's like, I know I bought them. Where did I put them? I bought them. Where did I put them? So I'm like, where would you put them because I have no idea. Me, I kind of creature of habit. She finds them in the cupboard where you put the dishes.
Exactly.
Where you put
the I don't know why.
dishes. Like, would you ever put them there for any reason?
Do you remember when you put your drink in the freezer and you couldn't find it?
It's still in the general refrigerator, and I put it in there to make it cold faster so I can drink it. That makes logical sense. The toothbrushes in the dishes.
Well, maybe I needed the toothbrush to scrub the dishes.
Yeah, we were talking about Time Traveler, Cody. We were saying that she must have been with Doc Brown, and they must have.
It must have been a
really had a good time.
Everybody knows that there are things we don't remember when we're younger, but yet if there's something like a really happy moment, you remember those, or if it was traumatic, you remember those. And my father was very, very strict, and my mom worked on my dad for weeks to let us to go. And it was right up to the point before the dance that my father finally agreed and was going to take us that we got the call that my grandfather passed away. So we lost the opportunity to go to this sock
So
hop.
was Richie Cunningham coming to pick you up, or
No, it's
were you
Fonzie on
were
his
you meeting them?
motorcycle. Anyways,
Oh, she keeps me entertained. That's for sure. That's for sure. My best skis in the fridge milk almost went to work with me. I mean, I've done that before. Yeah, plenty of times.
Cody.
But she does. She.
No, he was laughing because we got up. We left at 4:30 in the morning to head to Penhurst on Saturday, and it had like poured like crazy, and I stepped off the curb because it's a road. Instead of hitting road, I hit mud. And all John saw was my hands go flying in the air in front of the
Picture.
car.
I'm getting in the passenger side, and she's going around to the driver's side, and all I see, because she's shorter than me, of course, and not much higher than the front of my car, all I see is like someone going on the roller coaster and going down the. I see hands go up in the air, and I see her like go forward, and I'm like, what is she doing now? I'm like, she just, but
And
yeah.
literally, was only one spot where this pile of mud was, and of course, I hit it.
She did again. I do remember the sock hop story, and I also remember the story you told me the one time about how the alien landed in your backyard and needed to phone home, and you and your sisters were trying to build a phone out of a record player and stuff, but the government came and.
Hardy har har, as a knee slap us up.
Yikes! See what I deal with? It is amazing that New Jersey Paranormal and Para Unity functions the way it does.
You want me to take you back to the Gator Walk?
Amazing that it does, and the quiet ones do all the work. The unspoken
we all know you're not quiet.
Heroes that do the stuff behind the scenes, the grunt work, and don't take the bows.
Oh, I'm sorry,
and they don't
Cheryl.
get credit for it.
I hope you're going to be okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cheryl. Yeah, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I hope everything's okay too. We were supposed to be in Ohio on Friday, but Dan got stuck in New Jersey an extra day working. Oh well. Right, you made it there though, Celine, right? I heard you made it there. But
thank you, Sally.
Sally.
And you don't have to wear the shirt, Sally.
Sally, remember, I think I'll draw you a map like where on the fence would be the best spot to look in and see the wedding. So you could just be careful of the cars. There'll be a lot of cars driving by, but you'll be able to see it.
It's her husband. I hope he's going to be okay.
Oh no, I hope he's okay. I do. So anyway, what did we learn? We learned that what time we'll be at the Creeper Gallery. We're not going to go live from there, so it's not.
Hey, Gina.
It's not a live stream. If we go live for any reason at all, it'll be just to say, hey, we're here with Donna at the Creeper Gallery. Donna, say hi.
I think she wants to time it so that we can. So maybe you can come there. Is that what, Heather? Because she's moving away very soon.
Oh, like I said, we got to go. I got to go walk Walter.
Yeah.
So I could do that early, like 11:30. So we should probably be there like 1:30. Probably 1:30. I'd say closer to 1:30. So I can't make it to the wedding on medical.
And I hope that you're okay through that. Everything comes through on that.
Laura, that's the most important thing, that you're okay. We'd love to have you there, because you do wear your shirt and you do represent New Jersey Paranormal, and you've been good to us.
And it took John a long time to remember what your name was
Carol,
instead of calling you Carol.
Carol. Well, people would too. Okay, you're gonna get me off on a tangent. So I'm talking to Tanner from Project Beer, and Tanner is a very unique name.
Yes, Ann.
You both were better today. Tanner is
I'm doing much better, Bonnie. Thank you.
Tanner is a very unique name. I told him when I saw him and we talked, I said, I have never met another Tanner in my life. I haven't. I've never met another Tanner. So he told me a funny story. He said, I actually met one other Tanner. He said, my whole life, he said, school, high school, whatever, he never had met another Tanner either, but he met one. And I said, well, how did you get the name? And he told me, his parents wanted to name all of them with a T. His sister's name starts with a T and everything. And they came up with the name Tanner. And he said he had met another Tanner. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, but it was a girl. And I was like, oh. And he's like, I said, but it's a unique name, Tanner Wiseman. It sounds made up. It almost sounds like Hollywood,
Yeah.
like a stage name,
Yeah.
you know? So turns out it's a girl's name.
No, it's not. Kathy said it's my grandnephew's name.
I'm
Tanner.
kidding.
I know. I
But,
went to school with a Tanner.
but they all have those kind of like that age. Dakota, that's not.
I think Tanner and our for certain people in certain areas that was a name that was more prevalent.
So they went to school with a Tanner. Wow. Back then there was a Tanner a thing?
She went to a tanning booth.
Are you doing Liberty Hall in June?
Yes.
June 7th. Mr. Zaffis will be finally at Liberty Hall for the first time. But with him, I have no idea. Earthquakes, drones, meteors, tornadoes. John Zaffis seems to bring the worst, the weirdest weather wherever we go and whatever we do with him. So, but John will be there June 7th with us at Liberty Hall for the first time. And great place. If you have tickets, then you're going to enjoy it because, again, another thing. Okay, conversation.
You should be tired, Gina.
A conversation that came up this weekend as well. I was talking to Dave Tango, and we were like, who would you want to investigate with that you haven't so far? That was kind of the conversation. And Dave said to me, you're not going to believe this, but John Zappis. And I'm like, you've never investigated with John? Because they've known John forever. And he's like, no, I really would love to investigate with that guy. And I'm like, well, John uses the Echovox, and I didn't know he was clairvoyant. And Dave's just like, I know all that stuff. He goes, but I would really love to just once. And that's cool because, Dave's been doing this a really long time.
Yeah.
And we've been very fortunate. And how many times have we been out with John?
Yeah. Sometimes it's easy to take that stuff for granted and not realize that a lot of people don't get to do that. And Zaffis is somebody you've always admired. And
John is top of the food chain for me, man. I love John.
Prepare for locusts.
Heather, you say that in jest,
but Celine just said, speaking of the tornadoes, they had tornado warnings in Ohio and the 3 a.m, and that's where John Zaffis was. So he brings it.
So all that haunted objects and stuff he has in his house, man. This one just follows
maybe
him.
That's it, man.
But having said that, we are looking forward to Dalen. Dalen's a good guy, entertaining. Those guys are all entertaining. So if you want to come June 21st, there are still tickets available to that one before we release it. We're really not doing a lot this summer. I didn't really notice until I looked at the schedule that we're really not. We're not that busy this summer, which will be
we're not busy.
What does that mean?
You don't think we do much, do you?
Oh, speaking of that, excuse me. One of the other cool things that happened this weekend, these two people approach us and they're like, there's an old historic building in our town, of course, it's South Jersey. And they go, they said the name of the building, and they said that they were in there, and they're not part of a paranormal group, but they do stuff. And they said that the people that run the building said that the building was haunted, that there's stuff that goes on in the kitchen and on the second floor and then another level. And they, what the heck? We must have slept. No idea that's already anymore. Cody, John brings that stuff with him, man.
I swear he packs it in his
suitcase. You were lucky the time you were there with us, because someone showed me their phone and there was like a thunderstorm warning.
There was alerts.
This last time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw that.
John brings that.
You see
every
John
time.
McGinnis? June is hurricane season, just saying. Who says that?
John brings it, man. He really does. And he laughs about it, but he brings that weather. We canceled 2 events in February.
Yeah.
Back to back,
major,
weekend after weekend, because of ice storms.
Yeah, major. It was pretty bad.
He's like a unlucky rabbit's foot when it comes to, but he's great at events. So anyway, these people come up and they're like, we went to this building. It's in our town. for the history. We know it's an old building. We know the history of it. We went in there. We just randomly asked about the paranormal stuff, and they said, yeah, they all these places are haunted in the building. And then they said we mentioned you guys and about you guys coming in there, which was really really cool because you know they
Yeah.
mentioned us. So we have the contact.
Cody.
We have the contact information. We have we're I reached out to them today, waiting for them to call me back, and there's a chance that we may be going South Jersey yet again for and this building looks. I showed Chris the picture today. This building looks really cool.
Really cool.
Really cool. I mean, so we'll see what happens.
I will keep your fingers crossed on that. Plus, we've got the one with Long Beach Island. That's where it is. That hopefully when the summer's over. What? What did I do?
Yeah. Oh, you said it right this time.
Did I?
Yeah.
So why were you going to really?
Because you usually say it wrong.
I do. I honestly have. What do they call it?
But we never said where it was until you just blurted it out. But that's okay.
No, we did.
Mm.
We did.
Mm.
But that doesn't matter. Anyways, moving on. I wanted to. There was a really unique experience that we had this weekend, and this is why I think it's really important to remind you. But we went to a dinner Saturday night, and it's the two of us. The table. Be quiet. Yeah, don't say nothing.
Don't tell me to be quiet. I just asked you what we're going to talk about.
There's 8 people that can sit at a table, and there were 3 people at this table. And we went over and we asked these people, would it be okay if we sat with them? And lo and behold, the universe puts you with people unexpected when you start having conversations. I was so fascinated by this woman sitting next to us. She owns rail lines, 6 of them.
That's the one you were fascinated
by? Wait
by?
a minute. That's how it started. That's freaking fascinating, sir. How often do you come across that? Then her husband was born in Germany, lived in an orphanage, came over here. His mother remarried and to a military man, came over here to the United States to avoid the service over in Germany. Graduate from college, ends up in the military and serving in Iraq. And he speaks German, and we started speaking about the wedding and the German club, and it was really unique. Then out of the blue, their daughter's between them. She's a forensic, what do they call it?
She collects evidence from crime scenes.
She did investigation forensic, and we're just like, talk about the most interesting conversations just sitting there with these people.
Right before we were going to eat, we're talking about like crime scene evidence collection and the things that.
And she said she was late getting there because of a guy that in DC that was shot 8 times in the head.
It's totally normal.
It was like, we were having normal. It was just like, I go, 3 people in the family with these amazing, like, it was like, I was like, this was the coolest thing ever.
I'm looking at my pasta like,
thank you, Celine.
I don't really want this anymore because I'm thinking like brain matter and blood and she was talking about it like she was talking about working on an IT department.
Come on,
like, oh,
this
normal.
Woman is this little sweet dinky woman, and she owns rail lines, 6 of them. How can you not be like? That's like so. I know.
Compared to a forensic person.
But just the 3 of them with their stories and stuff. And the funny thing is, we thought he didn't have parents because he was in an orphanage. And she said, no, in Germany, if you're a single parent, you're not allowed to raise your child at that time. Back then, you had to be in an orphanage. And so until she got remarried, she couldn't raise her son. It was like, not as cool as going to a sock hop.
You're right,
I didn't
Cody.
get to go to one.
You're right, Cody. None of those stories.
Hey, Dana.
None of those stories compare to a sock hop. None of them ever mentioned in all of their travels of Germany, not one sock hop. None of them. Yet this one here was this close. That close. She showed up with the socks on, and Dad said, not tonight, honey. Your one chance. Not tonight. There's chores to do.
Come on. Don't you think those are like, that's a really cool, like, I get excited about people and their stories. And I know.
Laverne, he said, listen, little Chris. Laverne and Shirley I got to pick them up from the plant
I went to the
and
sock
drive
hop
them
with Carmen.
and drive them home
Carmen would have
tonight.
danced with me.
So I need to pick up Laverne and Shirley and drive them
Leader,
home.
hose,
So
and hop.
there's
sock hop.
oh please
Don't
God,
encourage him,
please.
Kathy.
That'll be
I'm
yeah.
glad.
One of the VIP
Am I
parties
really
should be a
that?
sock hop.
Am I really that odd?
Is water wet? I mean, chubby checker. Maybe that'll be one of the parties for the expo.
Do the twist.
Sock hop night.
Do the twist.
With Lederhosen.
Lederhosen.
But anyway, somebody mentioned, people liking us or whatever.
Hey, Lauren.
Lauren, we hung out with Lauren a lot. I no matter what, Lauren, I love you guys, and William, I can't get used to that hat.
I love the hat.
I just can't used to, unless you're like from in Texas or something like that. Like cowboy hats just look kind of strange in Jersey and PA. Come on, Satori. You know damn well you've never been to a. Ask your mother and father.
Thank you, Satori.
Ask your mother and father if they've ever been to a sock hop.
So what if it? But maybe it was a theme. I never got to go. We got. You
know how there's tribes out there who haven't discovered like technology yet, and they're like in the deep Amazon rainforest. I think wherever you were raised, I think was one of those areas in the woods where technology, like Joe Dirt, there were a bunch of Joe Dirt people. I think.
Or maybe, John, you just haven't come out of your bubble and lived.
That's what I think. I think somewhere,
Thank you, Satori.
Somewhere in New Hampshire, wherever you grew up, it was like, you ever seen the movie The Village? How they didn't know the outside world existed? I think you were in some commune or something where they watched.
I grew up like a real
Happy
person.
Days all the time, and they
I
tried
wasn't
to
in
emulate the town.
It was, Nancy. It was a school thing. I mean, listen, it is a roller coaster. This is our life. If anybody hasn't figured it out, this is the real deal.
I'm telling now, it's all coming into focus now. You lived in some kind of compound where they emulated the 50s and the 60s and the 40s, and like the Amish, but only 50s and 60s. All the guys had their hair greased and.
Let me tell you something. You want to call me Amish living in one of you're baking. If this world were to crash, there's no electricity, nothing. You would have to depend on me for your survival.
No, I'd be done. I told you, I'm not going to be around. If Armageddon came, I was talking to Andrew next to us because he's
spiked punch. Heather.
He's Andrew Darling's like a real guy. He's a hunter and he was in the service and he knows how to make a shelter and fire and all that stuff. The apocalypse comes, I'm out. Because as soon as I'm going to shelter in place at the ShopRite, and as soon as I run out of food,
so you don't think you could evolve?
I'm done. No way. No.
I recommend y'all wear weird socks and bring it, Cody.
I think
bring it.
Excellent idea.
I didn't get to go to my sock hop. I didn't go to my prom
excellent
either.
Idea.
You want to call me Amish, Chris?
No.
Yeah, I'm not Amish.
Sorry, you don't know the half of it.
Not Amish.
You don't know the half of it.
Amish don't race cars. Amish don't do dirt bikes. Amish don't do stuff like that.
No, hill people do. You were I told you. You in your little section of where was it? New Hampshire?
New Hampshire, Vermont.
Yeah, they're it's some kind of like we watched that documentary with those people that lived together, remember? And there were people that tried to get into their commune and they had to be voted in.
Yeah. No, we didn't live like that. We lived in a house.
Yeah, but it was in the commune.
You're a commune. Lauren says, I love the cowboy hat. Cody, it should be a sock hop theme, dress the part. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, why not, right? I mean, we should play as a joke. Because Steve.
It would be cool.
Steve Barry, you guys don't know, good friend of ours, famous Steve Barry. Gettysburg Battlefield Bash is in July. We're going to be there for
good
that.
Cause
so
for Wounded Warriors.
You can come to Gettysburg in July. Come to that. We'll be hanging out all weekend.
Oh, Celine.
We have a great time. Steve is going to be the DJ at our wedding, and I should work it out with him and everybody there. So at some point we play some Chubby Checker song, and everybody just takes their shoes off and
on Blueberry Hill.
No, you got to do the. What do you sock hop to? Is it
the twist? Oh. That's it.
I'm going to try to arrange that. But anyway, there were several people which was very, very cool, that came up to us at the convention and were like, "We watched you guys on the live stream." Right? I mean, how many people said that?
Yeah.
And the one guy was like, "Yeah, my wife, when you're on, she like runs, she goes to the other room and she watches you, and she calls me in, and I watch you." And that was really, really cool, because like I said, this is a show about nothing, like Seinfeld. We just come on here and talk about sock hops and Chris
La
putting
Bamba. Yeah.
toothbrushes in the cupboard and forgetting about them. But oh, hand jive, that's the
There
thing.
you go.
That was on
And
Grease.
hit it.
Grease, they did a sock hop.
Now you get it.
That was in the 50s.
Well, it was a theme or something. I don't know. I didn't get to go. I was disappointed.
Hand jive.
It was going to
See,
be my
that makes
first
sense.
dance ever. And I'm telling you guys, I'll tell you how strict my father was. When we were teenagers and were finally able to
Oh,
go
boy.
spend the night
Oh,
over
boy,
at a
this is-
friend's
this is
house,
gonna be a
but
doozy.
we had to go in pairs. All sisters had to go together, right? Where there's 4 of us. My father, Lydia, and we lived out of town, half hour away. My father literally came by in his van with a special painting he did himself, so everybody knew his van, and drove by several times real slow.
Wait.
It's embarrassing.
Wait. A van
A van.
special painting that he did himself.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, he pinstripe painted it.
Boy, if that don't say hillbilly and redneck, I don't know what does. You check all the boxes. Sock hops, painted vans.
Listen, I've lived. We were brought up to immerse yourself into different things. I am not a Jehovah's Witness, but I went to a Jehovah's Witness church because I was invited to experience it. They embarrassed the crap out of me and said I was a sinner and wanted me to stand up in front of the congregation, so I left. But I went there because I was invited. And before you can
the
make
mystery
judgment,
machine. It's the mystery machine, Heather. Yes.
Hey, Alex.
No, it's a combination of the General Lee and they're probably like the 18. That one. That
kind of.
Probably like that one.
That's pretty weird that he picked that out, but pretty close to that.
That's what John McGinnis. I told you, John and I are always
you both have that little
when we think about
going on there between two of you.
But no, that was sock hop. I'm not going to forget that one anytime soon, for sure. But yeah, that like I said, people come on and they watch us, and there are certain people who like when we go back and forth like that, they think we're arguing or whatever. We don't argue. I mean, that's who we are.
This is our language.
We're completely different people. Completely different people. I'm kind and compassionate and patient, and she makes up sock hops.
I'm a monster.
That she went to one night, in her dreams when she was sitting alone.
I didn't go
in a room
listening
to her Grease records. She was imagining herself being Sandy and dancing at the sock.
My first album that
waiting
I ever
for John
bought was
Travolta.
Kiss.
Who?
My first album that I ever bought with my own money at 11 was Kiss.
Which do you remember which album was?
No, because they took it away after I got it.
Speaking of Saturday Night Fever, it's so funny that we're walking up the street the other day to go to I forget where we're going. We might have been going to the post office or something. We have a really nice downtown in Metuchen.
Yeah.
So you go down there. There's a lot of restaurants and there's a post office down there and the banks are down there and all that stuff. We're going by the crossing guard because the kids were getting out of the Catholic school across the street from us. And this car, one of these Fast and the Furious jobbers, comes by, turns the corner, and what is he playing on his stereo? Blasting Staying Alive.
It was
Saturday Night Fever.
All 3 of us were
Staying Alive.
John and I were
and we stopped and we looked at each other, and even the crossing guard, who was older than we are, he's there with his sign, and he looked, and I looked at him and I went, Saturday Night Fever? He's like, I know. What was the last time you heard a car blasting Saturday Night Fever?
In the Fast and Furious car.
Really?
I mean, I wouldn't be playing that kind of music or driving a car like that, but that's okay.
So remember, again, that's pretty much, we'll wrap it up for tonight. Is there a chance that John will be at the Creeper Gallery this week? Maybe. We'll be there Sunday. together. If you want to
Sauce,
stop by
Kevin.
at like 1:30, 2 o'clock, we'll be
Yeah.
hanging out. Hopefully it's a nice day. I wish it's a nice day because
Knock on wood.
I'd like to go get something to eat and hang out in New Hope and just hang out by the Creeper Gallery and get to see Donna. We haven't really got to see Donna and talk to her in a while. So if you're in town and around and you want to take your first trip there, come hang out. It'll be a good time. And
And we're going to be bringing Kathy's stole, father stole for her to Liberty Hall. We're going to get it from Donna and bring it to her.
oh, it's still there.
Yes. Yeah.
And if by chance, just be on the lookout. If you see someone who looks like Sally Busher with a wig and a mustache on at our wedding or any events, someone point her out to me immediately because I will have her removed. All right, guys. We ran a little long tonight, but thank you again for your support and for following us. You guys really are important to us,
Yeah.
not for just the events that you come to, but for watching us here and being part of our community. You guys know that we just don't use that word loosely and it's not a buzzword. We mean every bit of it. You guys let us do what we do, and we appreciate every one of you. And we wish you guys were all from Jersey and
You'll be at the
PA
wedding,
and we
right?
could see you guys, but we get to see you here and we all go through all this stuff together and talk about it together. And we're one big happy family. And Sock Hop, June 21st. Everyone be there. Germania Park, Sock Hop.
So, John, having saying that, you know, how supportive and great and the community that we have, just like I said, keep Maria Parker in your prayers. Show her your love and support. She's going to need it from all of us while she's adjusting, and she lost her best friend. Peter was her best friend, and I know what it would do to me if I lost this man right here. So, you know, show all of what you've shown us and what we show each other to her, because she needs us, this community, very desperately. And each one of you, please, and I don't say this as a tagline or anything, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Please stay well, stay healthy, and please remember to be kind to each other, because you just don't know the difference that a kind gesture, a smile, can make in somebody's life.
And we all know, again, not to end this on a really down note, I literally, after what happened with Peter, people will tell you that I've messaged them and texted them and just said, hey, you know what? I care about you. You're my friend.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to know you. You matter to me. Because if you wait to say things like that to people who matter in your life or whatever, then tomorrow really isn't promised to anyone. It's the truth. So if you get a chance, just say it.
And
You know what I
Kathy,
mean?
that's why it was such a beautiful thing that you called and you talked to her and you were there for her, because you know exactly what she's going through. That's what I mean about this community, this family.
All right, guys. You have a
Have a
good
good
night.
night, everybody.
We'll see you soon.